Hey everyone, my name is Cleo, and welcome to the Melanin Muses podcast. Today we will talk about Imposter Syndrome. We will cover 3 points today. Number 1, what is Imposter Syndrome? Number 2, how can you identify if you have Imposter Syndrome? And number 3, how can you push past it? What steps can you take to push past Imposter Syndrome? So remember, please like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell. And hit that little notification bell down below to stay updated on our future episodes. Let's get to it.
Greetings to our kings, queens, and everyone in between. Welcome to Melanin Muses.
Mindful knowledge, healing hearts. We are your muses.
Cleo.
And Calliope, but you can call me Callie. We're here to give you a safe space to open your mind.
And to heal your heart while adding a dash of melanin flavor.
Disclaimer, we are not legal, mental, or health professionals. Although we are actively researching the topics we discuss and fact-checking our resources, please note that we are only giving our opinions and not professional advisory.
If you wish to get qualified guidance, please seek out the help of a licensed, certified professional. Let us begin. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Muses podcast. Woo-hoo-hoo. And I'm super excited to share with you guys. Well, we are super excited, excuse me. I'm sorry, fam, but this is the first episode of season 2. We did it. We're doing like our happy dance right now. It's so great because we made it through 11 episodes of our podcast so far. And let me tell you, that is a feat. Like, do you know how much work it took to put in 11 episodes when you're working from opposite sides of the world?
So much work.
Yeah. So even though this might not seem a lot to many, it is a lot for us. So we are proud and patting ourselves on the back. Woohoo! Yeah. But anyways, today we are going to start off strong with a very hefty topic known as imposter syndrome. Bum, bum, bum. And I'm sure, so don't you laugh at me. And I'm pretty sure like many of you have probably already heard this term in passing or actually know what it's about, but do not worry, y'all. We will give you the definition so that way you can listen along with us and actually understand what we're talking about. Because trust and believe, there are times where I don't even know what we're talking about, but it's okay.
Oh boy, and that's where I come in. I'm here to explain things in a way that we can all understand. This is Callie. Oh Lord. Okay, so to begin.
Yes.
What is imposter syndrome? Well, it's an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. So it's very narrowly applied to individuals in academia and like different achievement styles like in business or law school, but it links to perfectionism and social context. So those perfectionists out there, like myself, we tend to experience imposter syndrome pretty frequently because for whatever reason, the inner machinations of our mind make us believe that we don't belong. That is entirely false, and this is what we'll be talking about today. The characteristics of imposter syndrome, how to identify it, what causes it, the different types, and how the hell do you cope?
Snaps. All right, go ahead.
Well, Cleo, have you ever experienced imposter syndrome?
Oh, my dear Callie, all the time. all the time I get imposter syndrome. And I say this from a variety of different avenues, like especially as a creator, as an artist, I get imposter syndrome all the time, especially when it comes to like scrolling on Instagram for inspiration, and I see these artists who are just freaking amazing and just been at it for a couple years, or even the artists that I see, like, you know, those before and after drawings where it's like, oh, from 2018 to 2021, and it's like a stark difference, and you're like, did you ever sleep? And then I look at mine and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't be that good. And it's just it is a very weird position to be in, because logically I can process like, oh, if I put in the effort, I know I can get to that level of skill. But then you look at your current level and you can't help but judge it if like and be like, well, I don't know if I deserve to be at that level. And you just kind of talk yourself out of it, which further pushes you down into I don't deserve to be there, because you don't end up putting in the effort that you know you can give. And it's just a circle. It's a vicious cycle of mental talk that keeps you in that same position and keeps you from moving and just perpetuates itself. It's a very scary place to be in, not only creatively, but even in your normal day-to-day life of, oh, I want to be able to provide for myself and actually make a good living, make a good enough money. But then there's that little voice in your head that's like, who do you think you are, fam? Like, you don't deserve to make that much money. You don't deserve to be happy. Or if you're surrounded by negativity, if you're surrounded by unhappy people at the same time, that energy also pulls off to you or gets absorbed by you, in a sense of, oh, they're saying that, for example, this love doesn't exist. This type of romantic relationship doesn't exist. So if they're saying it, then maybe my ideas about love or about money or about how I should live, maybe they're just too fanciful. I don't deserve that. They're telling me I don't deserve that. So maybe I don't. Who am I to try and get out of this position that I'm in? So yeah, it's a very crazy feeling. But yes, oh, long story short, yes, I've experienced it. How about you, Callie? Have
Oh,
you ever experienced imposter syndrome? Please share with the class.
oh my goodness. So yes, sometimes I feel like a big phony, just a big fat phony.
A
Just
phony?
I don't feel like I belong. I feel like a fraud. And what's interesting about that is it's not true. I mean, how did you get it affects everyone. First and foremost, that's the one thing you need to know about imposter syndrome is that you're not alone in experiencing that. It doesn't matter what your social status is, your work background, your skill level, or your degree of expertise. At some point in your life, you will experience imposter syndrome. And this is a term, it's a psychological term, actually, that was coined by Susanna Imes and Paula Rose Clarence in 1970s. It was a concept that was introduced originally to high achieving women, since this is when it was most widely experienced, but it does occur in men as well. And in my case, when imposter syndrome rears its ugly head, it appears in the form of self doubt. I'm not able to really identify realistically my competence or my skills in things. Like, for example, I'll take an exam in one of my grad school courses, and I will swear up and down that I failed it. You couldn't tell me that I did not bomb this class. And lo and behold, I get my grade back, and it's pretty exceptional. I'm confused because I'm like, I know I did horribly. Um, this must not be my test. This is somebody else's. You must have confused it. No, it's mine. But because of imposter syndrome, I'm under the impression that I can't perform to the ability that I can actually perform. You also attribute your success to external factors and thinking, well, they must have made a mistake when they graded my test, or maybe they did a learning curve. That's why I got the grade that I got. No, no, you did it. That was you. And you have, fears of not living up, or you overachieve because you don't think you're doing enough. You sabotage your own success. You set very challenging goals and feel disappointed when you fall short. It's like a self fulfilling prophecy. You set impossible standards that you cannot reach. No one can reach, actually. And then you get upset with yourself when you don't reach them. That's what you got to look out for. That is an indication of imposter syndrome. And it's just, it's, it's a very strange thing. It's a very strange thing. It's like about 70% of people will experience at least one or two episodes, like throughout their entire lives of imposter syndrome. And it's most likely when you're in a field where you're competing against other people in one way or another. Oh boy. Oh boy.
It's nice to know. I guess nice to know is a kind of a bad way to put it. I don't know, but and it's kind of reassuring. Here we go. It's reassuring and validating to know. There we go. Use your words, Nikki. Very validating to hear that this is a very common occurrence, because I think many times when we get into a mode of depression or a bout of imposter syndrome, or just like, well, this can't just be me and blah blah blah, you think you are alone. You feel incredibly alone experiencing this. And by hearing that this is very common, it's like, oh, I'm not alone. This is normal. Okay. And it can hopefully like open your mind up to being able to reach out to other people to actually talk about this. But I think one of the challenging issues there is about when it comes to imposter syndrome is that not only do people think, many people seem to think that they're alone in this endeavor and feeling this way, but many people also don't know how to identify that what they're going through is imposter syndrome and how to articulate it in a way to communicate it to somebody else who may also not understand what they're going through, but going through the same thing. So it's like, how do we better articulate it and connect with others who are going through it? And then how do we move past imposter syndrome? I think that's something that would be great to learn. What do you
Oh,
think?
definitely. So, interestingly enough, I have, let's say, 5 questions that if you believe that you're experiencing imposter syndrome, you can ask yourself these questions. So, for example, do you agonize over even the smallest mistakes or flaws in your work? Do you attribute your success to luck or outside factors? Are you very sensitive to even constructive criticism? Do you feel like you inevitably will be found out as a phony? And do you downplay your expertise even in areas where you are genuinely more skilled than others? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you experience imposter syndrome. It's also interesting to note that research has shown, according to the DSM and the American Psychological Association, they've found indicators that imposter syndrome and social anxiety might overlap. So, a person with social anxiety may feel as though they don't belong in a social or performance situation. Like you might be in a conversation with someone and feel like they're going to discover your social incompetence. And you might be delivering a presentation and feel as though you just need to get through it before anybody realizes you really don't belong there. You should see Cleo. She's just so jittery. Well, basically, like symptoms of anxiety can fuel imposter syndrome. So it doesn't mean that everybody with imposter syndrome has social anxiety and vice versa. They overlap, but they're not necessarily how the saying goes. Oh darn, how is it? Causation doesn't equal. I forgot how it goes. But basically, there's a saying that says just because one thing exists and the other one is similar doesn't mean they're the same thing. Non anxious people experience imposter syndrome too. But the likelihood of you experiencing imposter syndrome, if you identify with these different types, so the perfectionist, that would be me. They're never satisfied and always feel that their work could be better. So then, rather than focusing on their strengths, they tend to fixate on any flaws or mistakes, and this tends to lead to a great deal of self pressure and high amounts of anxiety. If that ain't me, I don't know what is. Lord have mercy.
Oops.
We also have the superhero. Because these individuals feel inadequate, they feel compelled to rush to the aid of others. They're going to push everybody else to work as hard as possible to make up for what they're lacking. You've got the expert, who are people who try to learn more and are never satisfied with their level of understanding. So even though they're highly skilled, they underrate their own expertise. The natural genius is another. They set excessively lofty goals for themselves, and they feel crushed when they don't succeed on their first try. And finally, the soloist. See, these people tend to be very individualistic and prefer to work alone, but their self worth is often stemmed from their productivity. So they often reject offers of assistance, and they tend to see asking for help as a sign of weakness or incompetence. So, so Cleo, which one do you identify with?
So question beforehand. Can a person no, it's really pertinent. Can a person be have attributes of all five of those characteristics, or they can only like fit into one category?
Oh no, they can be blended.
Oh well, crap,
Definitely.
I'm blended with all five. Because y'all couldn't see me, but I felt like, okay, I'm gonna bring out the accent to accentuate. I can't English. I'm gonna bring this out so I can accentuate. Let me slow down. Accentuate what the meaning is. Um, I felt like she was coming at my throat. She was coming at my soul with each definition. There was another like nail stabbed right into my heart. And I was like, oh, why are you calling me out, Callie? Why are you calling me out?
I've been discovered. Oh no.
I've been discovered. Suspect was it the no an imposter? Oh my god, the game Among Us game, the imposter. I'm the imposter. Run away! Don't kill me, please. Y'all, like this is where my mind goes. Video game. I haven't played it yet. I need to play it. But anyway, no, yeah, I felt like I feel like I fit into all of those categories. I do have perfectionistic tendencies as well. Usually never really satisfied. It's only recently that I have been able to um, learn how to let go and just do my best and realize that with each thing that I do, I get better the more I do it. So even when it comes to this podcast, I'm like, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I'm learning as I go. And with each episode, I feel like I'm getting better. And with each more step, I'm learning. So perfectionism is definitely a thing with the imposter syndrome. Trust and believe everything. I'm like, I want to get, and even wanting to get it better on the first try. Like, that's another issue when it comes to my art. When I try something, I'm like, it doesn't look like a freaking Mona Lisa. My art's terrible. So yeah, I fit into all those categories. I feel called out. Thanks, fam. Yeah. How about you? Where do you fit in besides the perfectionism? Is that the only one you fit in, or
Oh
do you?
no. Oh no. I slide across the spectrum depending on the circumstance.
Yeah.
Lordy. So for example, the expert. Like, I'm never really satisfied with my level of understanding of anything. In my perspective, we're only scratching the surface at any given time. So we need to dig deeper. I need to know more. I need to be able to explain this to you walking backwards and chewing gum. So it's
Gotta dig a little deeper. Get too far to go. You gotta dig a little deeper. Okay, I'm good. Did tell mama told you so?
like I'm always digging, always digging. So that's why part of my practice is to tell myself when enough is enough. You can take breaks, you're allowed. You don't have to know everything all the time right now. Um, let me be honest. Yeah, like mainly it's the perfectionist and the expert that I identify with. And it's just like, no, I grew out of the soloist. I'm happy to say that, where like I just wanted to work alone for a while. And, my self-worth was tied directly to how productive I was. And I don't like when people help me to do things because I can always do it better myself. And if I can't, then I'm weak and I shouldn't be able to do it. I have gotten past that. I have. I mean, it's still hard sometimes, but I'm definitely not right there anymore. I can ask for help, and I do, as much as it pains.
So proud of girl. Teach me. Teach teach me because it's hard. Yo, it's a hard asking for help, especially like if y'all ever done those. I'm sure a lot of y'all have done this, but when you're back in school and you have them group projects, and then you end up being the only one doing all the dang work, and you're just like, I'm done, I'm tired, I don't want to ask nobody for help because y'all can't even do something so simple.
See, that's probably where it came from. I'm tired of people not pulling their weight. I'm like, I can do it better by myself. If I fail, I fail. It's my fault. But if I fail because of you, it's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. So here are some coping mechanisms for when you're experiencing imposter syndrome. So first, you got to start by asking yourself the hard questions. I know it's not something we're comfortable doing, and I know it's sometimes the hardest thing you could do, but that's really the only way to get past it. And you know what? We work through things. This is what we do here. We work through things. If you could see me, I'm shaking my arms. We work through it. And so you begin by asking, what core beliefs do I hold about myself? Do I believe I am worthy of love as I am? And must I be perfect for others to approve of me? Really sit with those questions. Sit with them and answer them. And once you begin to get answers, and I'm talking like genuine answers, don't make things up, like actually sit with your feelings and feel them and sit with them. You can start to share those feelings with people around you. That's really how you're going to get past your irrational beliefs. And that's exactly what imposter syndrome is. These are irrational beliefs about yourself. If you have other people to disprove those beliefs, it makes it that much easier for you to realign with what's true about yourself. Focus on others. Like, it might sound counterintuitive because you're comparing yourself to other people, but try to help others in the same situation as you, is what I mean. So if you see someone who's feeling awkward or alone, bring them in to the group that you're in. Like, ask them questions, like build your confidence in your abilities by actually investing in other people. Assess your abilities, like just write them down, your accomplishments, what you're good at, and compare that to your self-assessment. You'd be surprised how many things you've accomplished just by making a list of things that you're good at. Take baby steps. Like, one step at a time is better than these big steps that you're trying to make. Just be kind to yourself. Don't focus on being perfect. Focus on moving forward. And finally, question your thoughts. Just question them. Don't fight your feelings. Question them. Why do I feel the way I feel? Is there another way I can look at this? Who can I confide in to help me validate? It's got to be someone you trust and someone who will not coddle you or lie to you. So yeah, this is pretty much how you can combat imposter syndrome. At least that's what I've found to be helpful. Do you think any of these tips would be helpful for you, Leo?
Those are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tips. Especially the ones of the I English hard. I think in terms of battling this imposter syndrome, those are very good tips, especially in terms of not avoiding the feelings and actually sitting with them and diving through them. I think that can be one of the most challenging because as people, we don't like pain unless you're a masochist. But or whatever other terminologies there are to describe people who like pain. Um, but I do think that generally speaking, we tend to want to avoid pain. Physical pain is one thing, but emotional pain is a completely different level. It's like in the core, in the soul. It's not something you can see. So when there's emotional pain, the guttural instinct is almost to just suppress, or distract yourself so you don't have to feel it. And to actively take a moment to sit down and to analyze these thoughts, analyze these feelings is may prove to be very, very challenging for many of you. Trust and believe it has proved to be very challenging for myself as well, especially being on the spectrum of being a very emotionally attuned person. I feel things very heavily, very deeply. So to sit with emotion is very challenging for myself. So trust me, I get it. And it can be very scary. But once you are able to push past that fear and just to allow yourself to sit and stew in the emotion to process it, it can really, really help you in other areas of your life, not even just with imposter syndrome, but with just healing and closure and validation. So I think that's a very important aspect of not only battling imposter syndrome, but just life issues as well. Um, and the other thing that I really love that you pointed out was uh, talking to people who emotionally validate you about these issues. Because what many of us don't realize is that who we surround ourselves with is key. Who we talk to and share our thoughts and feelings with is key. Because if you share your emotions with people who do not take the time to try and understand you and to actually listen to you so that you're heard, then that can really damage your self-esteem. It can damage your mentality. It can damage how you view yourself, view your thoughts, view your feelings, and affect how you express yourself in the future. Because trust and believe, I've had experiences with people very close to me, who I tried to share emotional experiences with, and they either laughed in my face, they called me naive, or they just like, well, we know you say X, Y, and Z, but we don't pay you any attention when you do because, yeah, it's just whatever. And that's coming even from family, in some instances. And the sad part is that, especially with blood relatives or even close friends, they 9 times out of 10 might not even understand what they're doing or what they're saying, because in their mind, what they're saying is okay because maybe it was said to them that way and they think they turned out fine, and they don't understand how the power of words can affect someone and their psyche and affect how they motivate and navigate life. So that's very, very important to choose people who are on this personal development journey of becoming better and becoming more emotionally intelligent, who can actually help you feel heard and help you feel seen. Um, and in this case, for me, it's talking with Callie. Like you guys hear how she speaks and how receptive she is. Of course, I'm gonna be telling her stuff. And she is able to provide that validation. She's able to listen, and I feel heard and feel understood. And it's actually helped me develop better as a person to be able to communicate my feelings. And it's helped me get through some cases of imposter syndrome when they end up coming up at certain times. So I can definitely um, endorse talking with people who care in a positive and helpful way. Um, yeah. So those two, I think, really stuck out to me the most. Like, what do you think, to tie this off? Like, which aspects do you think fit with you the most, Callie?
No.
You know, I love
I'm
you, girl.
I'm gonna stop and say thank you. That makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. But for me, it's about assessing my abilities, getting an accurate picture of what I can do and what I've done. Like basically finding the exception to the rule. I may not have done well in maybe one or two areas of something, but in the other five, I've done pretty exceptional. And it's okay to pat yourself on the back when you do something good. You earned it. You deserve to be here just as much as anybody else. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If you've done it, it is you. It becomes your experience, and no one can take that from you. So lean in. Don't let the fear stop you from doing what you want to do. Fear can be crippling, and it can keep you from actually living your life the way you want to and allowing imposter syndrome to guide you and direct you for the rest of your life. Don't let it. Lean into the feeling and pull it out at the roots. You let your guard down and you let other people see the real you. The more authentic and vulnerable you are in showing your authentic self and your ability to rise to the occasion, the more validated you'll become because that is you. Simple as that.
100%. On that note, like we've shared a lot of awesome, awesome advice. Well, mostly thanks to Callie. Thank you for always providing the clinical studies, the important information, all the facts, all the facts. Thank you for sharing that with us today. So as we come to a close, why are you laughing at me? I'm trying to top
No, I wasn't laughing at you when you said in the facts. I was like, and that's a fact, Jack. That's in my head. Okay, I'm done.
Got something, Jack. There's another one. There's another song about Jack. What's another Jack song?
Hit the road, Jack.
There he is. That's it.
Back no
No
more,
more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road. Jack. Okay, we're totally going. This is not the point of this episode. All right, hit the road, Jack. No more, no more. Okay, I'm done. I'm focusing. So as we close off, we would like to share with you, instead of our quote of the week, we would like to do something different this season and end with a question of the week, And our question of the week for you to reflect on is, have you ever experienced imposter syndrome yourself? How did it manifest for you? And what do you do to combat it? And if you haven't combated it, if you haven't fought against it, if you haven't fought against it, what are things that you can do to take steps to fight it? So reflect on that, think on that, ruminate in that, and take action to help battle this, because you're awesome. You're amazing. You're full of so much talent, and you are loved. And people believe in you. We believe in you. Accept the belief.
We darn sure do.
And just know that you are validated. You are enough. You are worthy. And we are here for you. And I can't English. And we shall definitely see you next time on our next episode. So this is Cleo.
And this is Callie.
See you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hi, I'm back. And we are doing something a little bit different this season. This season, we are going to do a question of the week because we want to hear from you. We want to know what's going on in your mind. I was trying to wiggle my eyebrows and apparently they weren't. Anyway, we want to do a question of the week so we can get to know you a little bit better. And today's first question is, do you suffer from imposter syndrome? Or have you ever suffered from imposter syndrome? And what steps did you take or are you taking to overcome that? As always, we love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye!
Hey everyone, Cleo here. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Melanin Muses podcast. To continue listening to us, please remember to click that follow button to keep updated on our new episodes. See you next time. Bye.